Every mango you've ever bought from an Australian supermarket was picked by hand, not by a machine, not by a robot, by a person standing on a ladder in 40-degree heat, racing to get each fruit into an alkaline bath before the sap burned through their skin. Australia's mango industry is worth over $225 million a year. The Northern Territory alone produces more than half the country's crop. Roughly 40,000 tons harvested across thousands of hectares of orchards between Darwin and Mataranka. But the season only runs for about 4 to 8 weeks, and every single one of those mangoes needs to be pulled off the tree by someone's hands. So who does it? And what does their day actually look like? To understand that, you need to picture a place most Australians have never been. Remote orchards in the Northern Territory or far North Queensland, red dirt, no shade apart from the mango trees themselves, and a wet season humidity that hits you like a wall the second you step outside. The alarm goes off before dawn. On most farms, workers are out in the orchard by 6 a.m., sometimes earlier. The goal is to get as many hours in as possible before the worst of the afternoon heat. Because once it pushes past 35 or 40 degrees, which happens regularly, the work doesn't just get uncomfortable, it gets dangerous. Heat stroke is a real concern, and farms cycle through water breaks constantly. But the heat isn't even the hardest part. That would be the sap. When you snap a mango off the tree, the stem releases a burst of acidic sap. It happens instantly, and you've got roughly 3 seconds to get the fruit into a detergent or alkaline solution before that sap damages the skin of the mango and makes it unsellable. 3 seconds. While standing on a platform, in the heat, reaching above your head, surrounded by 7 other pickers doing the same thing. The sap doesn't just damage the fruit, though, it does a number on you too. Mango sap contains urushiol. If that sounds familiar, it should. It's the same chemical found in poison ivy, and for a significant number of workers, usually estimated at around 1 in 4, it triggers a condition called mango dermatitis. It starts with redness and itching on the hands. Then it spreads. Arms, neck, face. Some workers have reported rashes covering more than a third of their bodies, with blistering and swelling that lasted for weeks. The cruel part? Farmers don't always warn new workers about this. The rash often doesn't show up for a few days, by which point the harvest is already underway. And once the reaction kicks in, contact with the sap makes it worse every time. People with lighter skin and red hair tend to be more susceptible, but it can hit anyone. Workers are told to wear long sleeves and gloves, put on clean clothes every day, shower immediately after shifts, and, this one catches people off guard, never eat the mangoes while working on the farm. Eating them actually increases the chance of a reaction, because the allergen builds up in the body with repeated exposure. So why would anyone sign up for this? For a lot of workers, it comes down to 2 things. The first is money. Mango picking is one of the better paying seasonal farm jobs in Australia. Hourly rates start around $30, but experienced pickers' working piece rate can earn the equivalent of $35 to $45 an hour. On a good day, some workers pull in $300 or more. For backpackers living out of vans or shared hostels, that kind of money in a short season is hard to pass up. The second reason is the visa. Australia's working holiday visa program requires 88 days of regional farm work to qualify for a second or third year extension. Tens of thousands of backpackers from Europe, Asia, and South America flood into these farming towns every season specifically to tick that box. They're not choosing mango picking because they love mangoes. They're doing it because it counts towards staying in the country another year. But even with the money and the visa incentive, the work chews through people. Turnover is constant. A lot of first-timers last a week or two before the heat, the sap reactions, or the sheer physical grind pushes them out. The workers who stick around for the full season tend to be the ones who've done it before, who know the rhythms, and who've figured out how to protect their skin. If stories like this are your thing, subscribe. We cover stuff like this regularly. A typical shift looks something like this. You're out in the orchard by 6 a.m. on a harvest aid platform, basically a slow-moving vehicle that rolls through the rows of trees. Up to 8 pickers work around it, reaching into the canopy, clipping fruit, and placing its stem down into the alkaline solution on the platform. You do that for hours. The trees are tall, the fruit is delicate, and if you bruise it, it won't sell. Speed matters because you're often paid by the piece, but so does care, because damaged fruit gets pulled. By midday, most farms start winding down the outdoor work. Some operations shift pickers into the packing shed for the afternoon, where the mangoes are sorted, graded, and boxed for distribution. Packing shed work is cooler, but it's repetitive and fast-paced. Every mango gets inspected, and the ones with sap burns or bruises get separated out. After the shift, workers head back to wherever they're staying. Sometimes it's on-farm accommodation. Sometimes it's a caravan park or a backpacker hostel in the nearest town. Either way, the routine is the same. Shower immediately. Wash your work clothes in hot water. Try not to scratch anything that's already itchy. Sleep. Do it again tomorrow. And there's one more thing that rarely gets mentioned. The isolation. These farms are scattered across some of the most remote parts of the country. The nearest town might be Katherine, which is roughly 300 kilometers south of Darwin, or Mareeba in far north Queensland. These aren't places with nightlife or much to do after work. You're in the middle of nowhere, exhausted, and if you don't get along with the people you're working with, it can be a long few weeks. But here's the thing that keeps people coming back, and it's not the money or the visa, it's the community. Every season, these farms become temporary villages of people from dozens of countries. French backpackers, Korean students, British travelers, Brazilians on gap years. They work together, cook together, complain about the heat together, and for a lot of them, it becomes one of the most memorable stretches of their time in Australia, not despite the difficulty, but because of it. Right now, researchers at CQ University are developing robotic harvesting technology to automate mango picking. The prototype is designed to integrate with existing harvest platforms and reduce the number of hands needed in the orchard. The technology is being trialed on farms in Katherine, and the industry is watching closely. If it works, the next generation of mango harvest could look very different. But for now, every mango that ends up in your shopping bag was picked the same way it's been done for decades. By hand, in the heat, by someone who probably has a pretty good story about it. There's another one on screen if you're not done yet.